Maya, good morning and happy New Year to you. This is our very first conversation in 2021, and I'm so happy that you are talking about finances and how we can, of course, develop ourselves. So the question is, those resolutions we're making, I mean, how do we stick to them?
You know, I don't know about you, but I find, generally speaking, I make all these resolutions, and by February, I've forgotten about them. And I think that's true for most people. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is that we overcommit. We're like, you know, if I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to run, plus I'm going to give up carbs, and I'm going to do this and all that. And by the, you know, it's impossible for us to keep up with that. And I think even with our finances, we often make these really big New Year's resolutions, and it becomes overwhelming, and within quite a short space of time we realize we can't really do it all, and then we just feel bad about the whole thing, and the whole thing collapses. So we need to find a little bit of a different way of achieving those goals, because goals are important, but that's a little bit kinder to ourselves.
Yeah, but also this year is a bit different because there's a whole pandemic. People are losing their jobs, companies aren't doing that well, finances aren't really that great. So how do we then sort of strategize our resolutions or even our financial planning this year?
I think it's just choose something small but meaningful. So, for example, if the goal is I want to pay off my debt, I want to get out of debt, that's quite a big statement. But what if it is that I'm going to close one store card? That's my goal. Or credit card. I put it away. By the way, you cannot pay off a credit card if you're still using it, so you need to put it away. And then you commit every month to paying in a little bit extra to what you need to be paying in. And you set up a stop order off your bank account that goes as you get paid, and you just know. So in other words, set yourself up in January for all of these things to automatically happen for the rest of the year. So they're not something that it just happens. It's gonna be there. You know that store card's being paid off. The other one that I find I'm getting a lot of people, and you know, we're all worried financially, but some people still have their jobs and they're actually spending, funny enough, less on their day-to-day lives. Maybe they're not having to pay for transport as much because they're working from home. So I'm getting a lot of people saying, I want to start investing, I want to start saving. And that's another one. Just make it a New Year's resolution that by the end of January, you've opened an investment account. And trust me, they're not easy to open by the time you've done your FICA and all those things. Make that commitment, because once you've done it and you've set up the debit order, and that debit order goes off at the beginning of every month, it's done for the year. Yeah. So I think that's what we need to do. We need to find things, implement them when we have the energy at the beginning, and that takes care of it for the rest of the year.
It's interesting you talk about, also some people spending less, particularly at this time. I mean, how do we find those discounts and some of those, hacks whereby we could get a sale and not just, pay the original price?
Absolutely. I mean, we waited till January. There's a couple of items we needed, and we waited to January, and of course all the sales start coming through. So I think part of it is also just to keep an eye out, and if there are things that you need that you were planning on, look at them and be sensible. And I think the important thing is not to get carried away. I don't know, now we're all on online shopping, right? Online shopping for me is even worse than going into the shopping mall, because it's so easy to click, click, click. And one of the tips that I've been given is to put it in your cart. Don't buy it. Wait a few days. Let you think about it. Think about the purchase. Is this something you actually want to do? And apparently, sometimes the seller wants you to make that sale, and they'll actually give you a discount on it if you wait a few days. So there's a win-win to that one. So maybe those are some of the tips we can apply. I think it is wait, sleep on things. Don't get into the impulsive spending.
That's a great tip right there. And before I let you go, I mean, debt has to be one of the biggest obstacles in reaching your financial freedom or financial goals. How would you advise us this particular month to stay away from either loaning money unnecessarily or just, amounting in terms of debt?
Absolutely. We know that payday loans increase rapidly in January, and that's because people were paid early in December and they forgot that the January bills were going to come. So I think it's very important that rather than looking at a loan as the easy fix, is to sit down and actually properly budget. Say, right, where can I cut back? And if I'm going to struggle to pay my creditor this month, have that conversation now. See if you can delay it to next month. But you plan. Don't just, what I find is a lot of people, it's so quick and easy to borrow money to quickly solve the problem. And then you land back in that awful debt cycle. I think it really, really is. For me, somebody said, what is your word for the year? And I said, it's consolidate, but I think it's also plan. And I think so many of us understood what that meant and why it's important. So really, if you are struggling with debt, if you're not sure how you're going to meet your bills this month, don't think that taking a loan is the only option. Sit down, plan, have a discussion with family. Are there other places that you can cut back to pay off debt or to meet those bills? Or have that conversation with the people you owe money to, rather than going off and borrowing again.
All right, well, Maya, great talking to you. Thank you so much for this.